What quad? Oh, quadrilateral. I think the printing got cut off. Okay, so this 7.1, it's a re-emphasis of what you have learned in E-Math. When you have two parallel lines, they have the same gradient. So 7.1 is nothing new to you. So in fact, today when you yes, tomorrow's quiz is during the single period for A-Math. Yes. Okay, then the second part talks about perpendicular line. Okay, listen. So in your E-Math assignment, they subtly introduce this thing. M1 times M2 equals to -1. So if M1, gradient of the first line, is perpendicular to the gradient of the second line, then the product of their gradient is -1. Which means if let's say I say this gradient has gradient 2, and I have another line that is perpendicular to it, so what is the gradient of this line? So the two of them must multiply to give me -1 if they are perpendicular. So it's just -1/2. So what they are telling you is, if you have perpendicular line, the product of their gradient must always be -1. So this is something that E-Math students don't learn. So when you look at the assignment, right, they must tell them M1 times M2 equals to -1, then they can do the question. But you all should know that the product of their gradient is -1. It's in your A-Math chapter. Okay, then the third thing is midpoint. When we do line of symmetry, we learn midpoint, right? So how do you find midpoint for line of symmetry? X1 plus x2 divided by 2. But if it's a point, a coordinate, then you must y1 plus y2 divided by 2 also. So 7.3, we will learn how to find midpoint of a line. So if let's say this is A, which is 1, 2, I have another point, let's say 5, 8. If I want to find the midpoint, this thing, we use capital letter M for midpoint. You add up the 2x coordinate, divide by 2. You add up the 2y coordinate, divide by 2. So this is the midpoint of the two lines. So in 7.3, we learn how to find midpoint. Okay, there's this thing called the equation of the perpendicular bisector. So this is the only equation that you are learning in A-Math. So that means, yes,
M in that case is midpoint.
capital M, not the small m for gradient. Okay, so okay, listen. Listen. So what you learn in A-Math is you want to find the equation of this line, which happens to be the midpoint here, and then the gradient is perpendicular to the given line. So in your suspicion is, when I give you the gradient of the original black line, right, you need to go and first find the gradient of the black line, the highlighted one, the red line, sorry. Then you need to go and find the midpoint. So with the gradient, with the point, you can find equation. So A-Math is just finding the extra line. Okay, and then the very last part, there is this formula called the shoelace method that will allow you to find the area of any shape. So far in E-Math, we find triangle, we find maybe parallelogram or trapezium, right? But A-Math, you will learn a formula that you can find any shapes formula, any shapes area once you use that formula, which E-Math students don't know. Yes. Because the multiplication looks like tying shoelace. So it's called shoelace method. Okay, so this is the overview we will do tomorrow. Okay, that's it. What lesson is it now? Okay. So today, right, if you can, revise for your A-Math at home. Yes. And then try. Okay, so when I have any 3 points or 4 points or 5 points, any sided polygon, I can always find the area by using a formula that you see here called the shoelace method. Okay, I'm not going to talk more about this one because there's an exploration that we will do together. But it is always this formula depending on how many coordinates you have. So for example, A, can you see the coordinate being laid here? B, okay, and then C. Then the first coordinator is repeated. So this one is A, B, C, A. So they say that you should list the coordinate in the anti-clockwise manner. Okay, when we go into 7.4, we will explore how this formula works. So if you have 4 coordinates, you will label the 4 coordinates and then repeat the first one. If you have, yes.
How do we know which one we can start with?
You can start with anything, but just make sure you go into the next one in anti-clockwise direction and come back to the first. Okay, so if there's 4 points, you have 5 here in total because the first one is always repeated. Okay, and then the formula has a half in front. This thing is called the absolute sign. Okay, last time is in your A-Math syllabus, this chapter on absolute values. But it just means that no matter what value you find inside, they will drop the negative value. So if let's say finally you calculate and you get negative 23, your answer will just be left with 23. They will drop the negative. Absolute just takes the value, ignores the sign. Okay, so how to use this formula we will explore again in 7.4. I'm not going to talk about it further. Okay, so basically the whole of chapter 7, which is your A-Math coordinate geometry, we'll talk about these few things. Yeah. Okay, how to evaluate this, I don't want to share first because we are doing an exploration activity in 7.4. But I just want you to know how to list down the coordinates. That means if you start to choose from A, then you will list down the coordinate here as x1, y1. Okay, and then you must go to the next coordinate in anti-clockwise direction. So you put the coordinate of x2, y2 in this way, vertically. Okay, then the next one is this one. Then you put x3, y3. Then go back to the very first one you started off with. So, but how to evaluate, we will explore again. Because in the activity, I want you all to derive it on your own, rather than me telling you how it works. Okay, so just a recap. Okay, computational thinking shouldn't be new to you already. This is the input. No, so not input. This is the start and end. So your end is here lah. Okay, so this is the start. So in the system, when you feed this program into the computer, okay, you will start off with the prompt, and then this is the process where you input your information. So if I want to find equation of parallel lines, first I need one coordinate on the line. That means they must tell you what is that one point on that line. What is this x1, y1? So your input, you must key in that coordinate first. Second thing you need to put is they must tell you the equation of another line. So let's say another line is y equals to 2x plus 3. So this is the other line. So let's say this point that you input is coordinate, I don't know, 3, 5. Okay? So you need to put in these two info before you can come out with the equation of parallel line. So find the gradient of this given line. So when you look, the system will go and find out gradient is 2. Okay, and then they will ask you, is this line parallel to Q? So if yes, and then you can start doing your equation. So put in your 5, the gradient is the same. Then x minus 3 and then you get your equation. Okay, so this is your equation. Then that's the end. So the question will say end. Okay, but if it's not parallel, then you need to find another relationship, and then they end. They will say find another relationship between the equation. If it's perpendicular, then another loop. So this is generally what is going on in the computer's mind. It should be your system of flow, your flow of thoughts in your mind as well when you solve. Yes, you are not computers, but by right in your mind, first step is, oh, they give me equation. Second, they give me a point. Then you need to ask yourself this set of questions when you find equation. So this is the system of flow. That's why computational thinking flows in very nicely with math. Because you should work like a computer in your mind when you solve. Okay? Yes? No, not that, but it's how you use it. Okay, it's how you can already do this. Collinear means they lie on the same line, remember? Try this, you should be able to do already. Okay, that's all. And then catch up on your work, Okay, you should start working on the EMAF WA2 paper already. AMAF is done. You should start working on the E. Okay, I already uploaded the 2025. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so first thing first. They say find the equation of the line. So you want to find equation of the line passing through this point and then parallel to this. So just now, remember computational thinking, our input? Yes. So the input is the point and this new equation that you have. Okay? So you know that you can change this to 2x minus 1.5. So this is the equation that you input in. And then you feed it into the system. Then they go through the process of finding the gradient of this line. So the gradient of this line is 2. Okay, so remember the process. Okay, and then the next step is they ask you whether there is a relationship. Is it parallel or is it not? Right, remember? So parallel, then you know it's yes. Then they say you use the formula now. Okay, then they say use the formula, right? So just now in the computational thinking, this is the flow of thoughts that you should have. Still cannot see, huh? Then you need to find another relationship. If it's not parallel, you don't have the gradient. So you cannot proceed with this question unless they give you more info. Okay? So if you go and find this, then put in all your info. 2. Then x minus 1. Then y minus 2. So become plus 2. So your equation will be 2x. Oh, that's it. Oh no, minus 4. Yes. We put in the minus 2. Minus 2 become plus, ma? Right? Isn't it? Minus 2. So that's why it become plus. So then this is the output that the computer will give you. Oh, answer is y equals to 2x minus 4. That's the equation of the line. So in your mind, you are going through the systems of solving. Okay, what you feed in, what processes you go through, some decisions you make, and then finally get the equation. So you are processing it like a computer. Okay, so using this system of thoughts, can you solve part B? Oh, you found your notes already? Oh, okay. Someone give it to you?
Yeah.
Ashriel? Oh. Oh, you also have already? Okay, okay. So some people keep extra notes in the class, huh? Can? Okay, try the next example using the same exact steps like you are a computer. Okay, what will you do at the input? Okay, so at the input stage, okay, so this is the input stage, and then they put you through the process. The process wants you to find what is the gradient. So gradient from the equation is 2/3. Okay, then they force you to make a decision. So decision, they usually use a diamond shape. They say parallel. So yes, right, confirm is parallel in this case. Then you can start finding your equation. So y minus y, gradient x minus x. Ayo, that chicken poor thing. They're killing the chicken, is it? So poor thing. 2/3 x, and then that's 9, right? So 5/3, huh? Okay, so this is the equation that it will come out as a output like this. Then it will end. Okay? So of course you don't have to draw all these shapes, but you will know the language of computational thinking. Okay, when you see it. Okay, question 2 we have done before. How to, they tell you that these 3 points are collinear. So what can you do? You find the gradient. So gradient of AB should be equal to gradient of BC, should be equal to gradient of AC. No need to do all 3. Just do one pair will do. So choose the one that you already can find the gradient, which is AB. So 5 minus 3, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1.
Collinear is parallel.
Collinear means the 3 of them are on the same line. Okay, collinear means lies on the same line. Okay? So, next one, you can either choose BC or AC, your choice, depending on which one you prefer. I will choose BC because B has a 0, easier to calculate. So I will drop this one. So y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. 0, right? Okay, so this is 2, this is 4. K minus 3 and 10. So if you want, you can simplify. And then just cross multiply. Okay, you can choose to just cross multiply the denominator of one side over without crossing two sides. Okay, so if you do that, you're just bring the 10 over, leaving the minus 3 there. Okay, you can do that because this is the same as multiplying 10 on both sides. Okay, so this is 5. So K is just 8.
So, why for AB you started with A first, then for BC you started with C first?
It doesn't matter. You can decide which one is 2 first.
Oh.
So this one, right? Gradient of AB, I started off with using 5. There are minus 3, right? If you want to do the reverse also can. You can use 3 minus 5. Then after that, the bottom, you must do the same thing. 0 minus 4. Must be in the same order. Then can already. Yes. Can. Also can. So you want to times 5 here. Also can. Then you compare these two. Yeah, it will be the same. Okay, so collinear is not something new to you. We have learned this in E-Math. That's why I say if yesterday you go back and try, you will be able to do this already. It's nothing new here. Okay, then collinear again. So can you try on your own? Okay, if they never give you the coordinate, you can just write it ABC. Then we know what you are referring to. So gradient AB, BC, AC. Okay, remember the symbol. For gradient, it must always be a small letter M. Because now that you are learning capital letter M, this one represents midpoint. So you cannot use them anyhow already. So this represents midpoint, this represents gradient. So your capital letter represents midpoint. So always write small m for gradient. Okay, I will choose AB and AC because A is 0, easier. So I won't use this. So 3k minus 0, 2 minus 0. What happened? Oh, very drama, right?
Prince. Royal Prince.
Okay, so this is 3k over 2. This is 6 over 4k. You can do a cross multiply. So 12k square is 12. K square is 1. So k can be plus or minus 1 when you take a square root. So that's why they give you a hint. There's values of k. Yes. Yeah, I cross out because I only need 2. So I don't want to find that one. Yeah. But you can choose to compare these two also. No problem.
Just waste less time.
Your choice. Sometimes you choose longer steps. Sometimes you choose shorter way. Okay, it's all your choice. So hopefully by next week we can finish everything. Then we have 1 week for revision, week 6. Then you will start your... Yes. Oh, because I only need 2 for comparison. So I don't want to calculate this. Yeah. So every time the 3 of them will be equal, you choose a pair will do. No need the third one. No need to work so hard. You don't even have to write it out in the first place. You can just write this will do. So you just make a decision to compare these two. Then the third one, you don't even need to write it out. That means this one, you can totally leave it out. Can So this one is about parallel lines. It is what you have learned in E-Math. It is supposedly the tougher question in E-Math, but in A-Math, it is just a recap. Okay? Okay, we move on to perpendicular line. That's the slightly more exciting part. Can? Oh, okay, this one. Okay, so this thing that you see here, I think they want you all to learn how to use AI. Okay? So I will demo one, you will do one on your own. Okay, so first thing first, I have this information, okay, that I can abstract out from this question. So it says the equation of the line is what I want to find. So this is the output. Equation of the line. Okay, this is what I want to find. And then the input they give me is this point. Okay, and then the equation of the line that it is perpendicular to. So these two are my input. This is the information that they gave me. So I want to know what are the theory that will help me find my equation. So what do you think is important here to help me find equation of the line? What do you think is important? Any formula that you have learned that will help you find equation of the line? This is what you are thinking in your brain. Oh, now I want to find equation of the line. So what is the theory I need? Y minus small y gradient x minus small x. Some of you will prefer y equals to mx plus c. So this will help me find equation of the line. Any other thing is important here to help me solve the question. I definitely need gradient. I definitely need 1 point. So how can I find gradient of the line if they tell me it is perpendicular? What is the theory that is important here? What thing minus 1? Okay. So we learned that if they are perpendicular, then the gradient of the two lines, line 1 and line 2, must be negative 1. If you don't like to multiply the two gradient, you can think of it as the second line is the negative reciprocal of the first one. So this is the theory that should come up in your mind when you try to solve it. Okay, so later you will do the same thing as what I do. Okay, so now first thing first, it says that, okay, when you are at home, right, you want to try to solve the problem. Of course, I will create a chat board for you to ask questions, right? But what if you don't have a chat board, you want to use AI to help you solve the question? What is something that you can do? So first thing first, okay, the word perpendicular tells you about the relationship that you want. So under the theory part, there are some processes that we need to go through. So what do you think is the process that will help me solve the equation? What do you think is the process? Find gradient. Yeah, so I need the gradient, right? But what is the theory that helps me find my gradient? No? No. How can I find the gradient of the perpendicular line? Yes, so actually, right, for the M part, I need this. Okay, or this one. So at the back of my mind, I know, oh, I need to use this to help me find the gradient of the line. I already have the point. Okay, so when I try to solve, I know the gradient of my first point here, the M1 is actually 2. This is the gradient of my first line. So the first process I think about is, okay, go and find the gradient that they give me. The second process I will find is I need to find the gradient of my new line. So I will negative reciprocal the 2 that I have. So this new line has a gradient negative half. Then what's the third thing I need to do at the back of my mind? Now I want to find the equation, right? So I need to use this formula to help me. So the third step in my mind is, oh, let me use the equation now. So I have the point. I put in my y as minus 3. My gradient is negative half. I put in my x as 2. So I go and solve it. So my equation is negative half x minus 2. So my output that I'm trying to find is this equation. Okay, so I want you to see that actually what we are doing here. Okay, wait, I know I'm blocking you. Let me find the method. Okay, so like what we mentioned just now, what is the gradient of this line? Okay, this is the first step, first theory that we are using. Okay, this one is the first one. Okay, the next question that the ChatGPT tell us is, what is the relationship between the two perpendicular line? So this is step 2. I know it's M1, M2, negative 1. Okay, so this is the second question I should be asking myself. And then the last part is, what formula must I use to find the equation of a line? So this is my step 3. Yes.
Then both of those equations are perpendicular.
Yes.
Miss, how do you use the first equation? M1, M2 equals negative 1.
So you know your M1 is 2.
Yeah.
So you put in. Then M2 is just minus half. Same thing. Yeah. Okay? So the process is going through this. So although it looks like, oh, so complicated for the computer, but they need that step-by-step instruction. So in your mind, these are the things you do. First one, tell me what's the gradient of the given line. Second, go and find the gradient of the perpendicular line that you want to find. Third, go and find the equation of the straight line. Done. This is the output you want. Okay, so when you are stuck but you don't want ChatGPT to solve for you, you will ask ChatGPT to generate some questions, okay, to help you solve the problem. Then they will question you and help you to solve. Okay, don't go and ask ChatGPT to give you the solution. Generate some step-by-step questions to help you solve the problem. So they will tell you how to think. Okay, you don't want them to tell you the answer because they will feed you the answer almost immediately. The negative reciprocal of this is the negative reciprocal.
You
Yes.
have to identify it as M2.
It's good to write line 2. If they tell you it's line P, then you change to MP. Okay, then whichever method you use, this one is using this formula. Okay, this one is using this formula. So you can choose one you prefer. Yes. Next page. Okay, and then this is the output. Okay, we want you to practice this so that you know how to use ChatGPT responsibly. Okay, to help you to solve problem rather than solve the problem for you. So that you won't become, ChatGPT won't take over your life. Oh, it has already taken over. So we will use this later to help us solve, and then this perpendicular tells us that we need to use this relationship. So at the back of your mind, when you read the question, this should be the processing in your mind. Okay, so first thing first, I know I need to find the gradient of the first equation. So based on the equation they give me, okay, let me zoom in a bit. Okay, based on the equation they give me, I need to change to gradient intercept form. So divide by 3 throughout. So I know that the gradient of the first line I have is 5 over 3. Okay, I need to find my second gradient, which is the gradient of the line I want to find. That is perpendicular, right? So I'm going to find my second gradient, this step 2, the second process I go through. I will find the negative reciprocal of this. So it's always negative 1 of my gradient. So you will flip the fraction. So it's actually minus 3 over 5. So this is gradient of the perpendicular line.
This one, can you please write in a more visible font, like the darker block?
Darker.
You know, like a bit more thicker.
This one gradient has like a eyesight solid.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
okay.
line.
Okay, sure. So how about you should sit in front and not go to the back? That's why. Who asked you to change your seat there where you cannot see properly? Okay, so gradient of the first line is 5 over 3. Gradient of the perpendicular line is negative reciprocal. So you flip it, it becomes minus 3 over 5. So this is for the perpendicular line. Okay, knowing the gradient, knowing 1 point, you can now find equation. So number 3 is finding equation of the line. So you use the formula big Y minus the small y, gradient, big X minus the small x4. Okay, so your equation is just this one. That's all. That one is what? 60. So minus 48, is it? Correct or not? Okay, so this is the equation. Okay, AMF, no need to change to mixed number or anything. You can leave it like this. Oh, 13 eh. So far off.
Yeah, you get 40.
Isn't it? Oh, it's 25, not 60. Okay? So this is the equation of the perpendicular line. Visually, how does it look like? This is my line 1. Right? Which they tell me that the equation is 3y equals to 5x minus 7. So I'm trying to find this perpendicular line, which I know it passes through this point. Okay, and then the gradient, I just found it to be minus 3 over 5. So what we are doing is not finding that line, but finding another line that is perpendicular. Okay, so same thing, repeat the same process. So the input is always the fixed thing. Okay, now my pen too thick. Okay, so the input is always the point and the equation. So if you want, you can shift it to gradient intercept form, so that it's easier for you to read gradient. Okay, and then what are the processes you take? Okay, you will first find gradient of the first line. So minus 4. Gradient of the second line. You make it negative reciprocal, right? So negative, and then put the minus 4 down. So you get 1/4. So actually is to reverse the sign and flip the fraction. Okay, this is negative reciprocal. Okay, and then I will find the equation now by using the point, the gradient, okay, so conceptually actually is very easy. It is just now one new step. Okay, so this is the equation of the perpendicular line. So it is nothing different from what you have learned in E-math except this step only. You are supposed to find the gradient of the perpendicular line. So there is only this extra step. Okay, but the rest of the method is the same. So it's like you have 2 chapters, but actually they are similar. So you conquer 2 subjects, 1 learning.
And then we go to 3 row.
No, not trigo lah. Not yet. Not so fast yet. You will suffer a bit in the hands of logarithm first. Okay, before we go trigo. Sorry? No, he said then we will go trigo, not so fast. We will go logarithm first. Yes, logarithm also has a lot of laws.
LG is 10.
Yeah, like indices like that. Okay? Because in reality, right, when you all do experiment, there's very big numbers and very small numbers. And when we want to plot graph, we cannot deal with very small and very big numbers. So we log the function to make the numbers manageable. Yeah.
Base, mean, and power.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, next one. Vertices. I have 3 of them. So let's try to just roughly see where they are. So 0, minus 5 probably here. Okay, minus 2, 1 here. Okay, and then I have another one at 10. Then K, but I don't know where is it. So what I know is this thing. But I don't know where C is. I don't know where K is. So K can be anywhere. Okay, let's say, okay, what they tell me is that ABC is 90 degree. So probably K is somewhere here. I just don't know what the value is. Okay, so in order to find, what can I use to help me find for the unknown? What do you think? Sorry? Yes, Raven, Ravan? Have. We will give you enough space.
If you don't
Lies, tell me lies.
0, 1. So what can I do? Make a guess. How can I solve for K? Here. Find what equation?
use the Pythagoras.
Is there an easier way out? Distance? Do you want to use Pythagoras theorem? Is there an easier way out?
I mean, just like how then.
They tell you perpendicular must have some reason, right? Perpendicular means what? Gradient. So the gradient of this line, AB, if I multiply to the gradient of BC, they must be minus 1. So when you see 90 degree, you need not always think about Pythagoras theorem. You can think about gradient because the gradient of these two lines are perpendicular to each other. So they should multiply to get minus 1.
Can we like find the gradient and then the Pythagoras theorem?
Can, but more tedious lah. So gradient of AB, I do a y2 minus y1. Yes? No need. But if you want to visualize the points, you can sketch it out. Okay, so 1 minus minus 5. Minus 2 minus 0. So this is gradient of AB. And then BC would be K minus 1. 10 minus minus 2. So become plus 2. Okay. So this one is 6 divided by minus 2. So minus 3 here. Then here we have 12. Okay. So if you try to simplify, okay, you will end up having this. So K minus 1 over negative 4 is negative 1. Cross multiply. So K is 5. Okay? Okay, can you use Pythagoras theorem? You can. Go and find this length plus this length square. It should be equal to this length square. Also can, but you might end up solving quadratic. Okay, which is fine. Okay, but just that it's more tedious. You can also find equation of BC. That means go and find the equation of this line. After you find the equation already, you sub in your point C. Sub this in, also can. So there's numerous ways, but some are more tedious than the other. So you just decide which is a better way, but all possible. Can so at the back of your mind, you also must be thinking what formulas I know, what concept can I use. So this is one method. Method 1. Okay, method 2, go and find the equation. Ayo.
If it's perpendicular, it's always negative 1. Right?
Yes.
The sum of the two.
Correct. The product. Okay, method 2 is finding the equation of BC. And then sub C inside. Okay, method 3, you can use Pythagoras theorem. Okay, use PT. Then you write AB square plus BC square equals to AC square. Then solve for the unknown K. All the square root will disappear for the length. Pythagoras theorem. Okay, now we only have PT, RT, FT, right? Pythagoras theorem, factor theorem, remainder theorem. Yes.
PPT.
This one 6. This one is 6. Okay.
PowerPoint.
Why? PowerPoint. That's PPT. Your PPT in chemistry is precipitate. So a lot of meaning. So you all don't anyhow PPT, don't know what T.
He said he thought it was PowerPoint and his theory.
Can You all know a lot of short form in math you can use, right? Like this one is therefore.
Oh yeah, therefore.
Okay, if it's like that, reverse is because. Okay, and then if you use a big dot in A math or E math, it means multiply.
Oh, that's why ChatGPT always gives me the.
So if we write 2.3 is 6, because this is another symbol to represent times. So when you rationalize, you can use dot instead of times. So this is another way to make you quicker. Okay, next one. Midpoint. Midpoint is very easy. But remember, midpoint use big capital letter M. So to find midpoint, add the 2x, divide by 2. Add the 2y, divide by 2. So the midpoint of AB is 3, 2. Yeah. Sum them up, then divide by 2. Add them up, divide by 2. So do your quick calculation for CD, for EF. All these just calculator skills. So go and calculate. All these very easy one. So this one is half. Okay, you go and calculate. Add this up, divide by 2. Add this up, divide by 2.
What is the formula for midpoint again?
Add the 2x, divide by 2. Add the 2y, divide by 2. x1 plus x1 plus x2 divide by 2. y1 plus y2 divide by 2. Yeah, they give you 1 mark for this. So midpoint is the easiest.
1 mark.
Yeah, 1 mark. Free one.
So like
FOC. Okay, then now they reverse. They say the midpoint of these two gives you this. So you follow their instruction. Midpoint of AB, I go and add the 2x. Divide by 2. I add the 2y's. Divide by 2. And then they tell you that this is equal to minus 7 and 3. So you term by term comparison. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. You do new line. I know space. Right, this one here.
But you can't put 2.
Okay. Your.
Teacher, do we all get a chocolate? Oh, you owe me one chocolate.
When? This one can be licensed money lender. No. Loan shark.
Remember you were gonna give me
He asked me for the tea bag for the longest time. This one you owe me my tea bag. So okay. Okay, so you compare term by term. So this tells you that minus 3 plus x over 2 is minus 7. Then you go and solve. Okay, so nothing difficult at all. Minus 11. Okay, then you go and compare the other one and solve for y. Very easy. Okay, because it's easy. Okay, I will pause so that you can write.
Did you sub?
Sorry? They didn't tell us what is the B coordinate. So you want to find the B. This one is midpoint of AB. I added the two of them up and they say this is the midpoint. They gave you the midpoint of AB. Yeah. So this one is reverse. Instead of telling you A and B, they give you 1 point and they tell you the midpoint. So you do a reverse engineering to find what is your coordinate for B. Yeah, this one 2 marks. Yep. The Google Classroom link. Go there.
On the website, right?
Yes. Okay, to help you visualize, they tell you A is this and M is this. You don't know what is B, so let it be XY. So you do the same thing. This is as good as question 10. So you do 2 plus X divide by 2, it gives you minus 2. You add these 2 up, divide by 2, it should be the same as this value. Okay, same thing here. Add these 2, divide by 2. It should give you this coordinate, the midpoint. So what I can do to help you visualize is I'll write this for you. Okay, so midpoint of these two is minus 2a. So I add up the 2x coordinate divided by 2, add up the y coordinate divided by 2, it should be equal to minus 2a. So do a term by term comparison. So go and compare the x, which is this one, and then go and compare the y.
Oh, so M is midpoint.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Why don't we do this on except if you don't know what M is the alphabet or the statement that we for it?
They will tell because they tell you AM is equal to BM, so M is the midpoint. They tell you that these two are the same. Yeah. So that is the hint. Okay, so if you solve for this,
Wouldn't it always be the same? Because it's quite literally the same.
if they tell you it's the midpoint, then it's the same. So y is 3. Okay? So midpoint, parallel line, perpendicular line, they are all quite direct. You'll be on their web. Okay, this one is the same thing. If you sketch it out, A, M, B. So AM is equal to BM. That's what they tell you. So actually M is the midpoint. And then they tell you B is this. They tell you M is this. So you can just let this be XY. Then repeat the same process. Add the 2x up, divide by 2.
That will be minus 6.
Correct. Add the 2y divided by 2. It is equal to these two values. So go and do a comparison. This must be equal to this. This equals to this. Then go and solve. Okay? So can midpoint can
That's all for me.
Yeah.
Draw the number of the
You don't need to sketch it out. If you can visualize, you can do
What's the
already.
hardest part of AMF?
Hardest?
It's just for our understanding.
Yes.
What's the hardest part of AMF?
Equation bisector for this chapter. Equation of perpendicular bisector.
For x1 of y.
Yeah. Okay? So how to find equation of parallel line, equation of perpendicular line, and midpoint we learned already. Okay, why? Can So now we will go to the combination of these three things. Okay? Now there's this other line called the perpendicular bisector. Do you know what that means?
It cuts the
What is bisector?
So if this is my given line, okay, if this is my given line, and I want you to find the equation of the perpendicular bisector. What does the word perpendicular bisector means?
The intersection.
So this perpendicular bisector must be perpendicular to my given line. So this is the first rule, right? So in your mind, you know that if I want the equation of this blue line, I need to use this. Because they would have given me the equation of this line, I can find the gradient of the blue line using this. So that's the first thing in your mind. Second thing, the word bisector cuts this line into half. So if I give you point A and point B, can you find this point? Can, right? What is this point? How can I find this point? Midpoint. So that's where your midpoint comes into play. So I need to go and find the midpoint between A and B. Once I know this point, I have the gradient of M2. I have this point. Can I find the equation of perpendicular bisector? So this is 7.3. You get it? So why we learn midpoint is so that we are able to find that one point that lies on the blue line. Why we learn M1, M2 equals to -1 is so that when I give you a line, you can find the gradient of this blue line. So with the gradient, with the midpoint, I can find equation of this line. Why do I need equation of perpendicular bisector? It links to circles. Yes, it links to circles in AMF chapter 9. No, chapter 10.
Wait, how does it link to circle?
Okay, because perpendicular bisector always pass through the center of a circle. So when you can find that, you can find the center of the circle, then you can find equation of the circle. So that is at a later point we will learn this and link it to circles. Is it time? Not yet, right? Yes.
Circles have equations.
Yeah, circles have equations.
Isn't it like a triangle?
Circles equation look like this. X minus a square, y minus b square equals to r square. So this one tells me that this is a circle of center AB with radius r. So we will have a chapter where we learn about how to find equation of circle. Yes, not WA2. This one will be tested probably end of the year. Yeah, probably end of the year. This one we will learn in term 3. Okay? So everything that you have learned will be connected. So it will be a foundation knowledge for another topic
Do
in
we learn any 3D shapes?
3D shapes. That will be what you have learned in lower sec already. I don't think there's new shapes that you will learn this year. Yeah. Coordinate, let's